Okay, fine. So let's try that HelloServlet. Fine. So let's see how we can develop the HelloServlet. How we'll be deploying it in our tomcat server. This is just a demonstration. And here it demonstrates how to develop a servlet by implementing the servlet interface. And later on, normally you won't be using this technique. Right? Okay, the other ways of developing a servlet. But let's start with this. So any servlet must be implementing the interface called servlet, right? So in our case, let's start with this. Okay, so we can have it part of a package. Package can be what? Dot plus dot servlet. Okay, let's have our patch name. And we'll need import for IO, only IO exception. If we need more imports, we'll put them. We need import for javax dot servlet dot servlet. That's what we'll be implementing. Servlet request. We'll need the servlet response. We'll have javax.servlet config. And these are the minimum things we'll need. Okay. We'll check and add more if needed. We'll have the public class. All servlets will have to be a public class. And whenever you implement your servlet, they have to be public classes. Okay, there has to be a public class. HelloServlet implements. Okay. We need to implement get servlet config. Okay, so we need a private variable of type servlet config where we can store the config object. Okay, let's implement those methods now. Okay, public method init parameter is servlet config. Return type is void. This dot configured to CFG. Okay. And the other method returns the servlet config. Get servlet config. Okay. Okay. So that's returning the config object. Other method, okay, need to implement service. Let's keep it at the end. Destroy and get servlet info. Okay, so void destroy. And currently our destroy method, we don't want to do anything. Fine, nothing. Blank. And there's nothing to be done in destroy. Okay, and then public string get servlet info. And this can return simply a copyright message. Return that could find some copyright string you can return. And then we have public method which does all the servicing of all the requests. Okay, void service servlet request. There's a throws for IO exception and servlet exception. We need import for servlet exception. Okay. Next. When we have the request response, we don't want to do anything currently with the request object. Okay, fine. So, what type of content you will be, when you are just trying to build your content. So, response dot set content type. Okay. This will be text slash HTML. Okay. Fine. If you want to write into the buffer, when you want to start writing the content, you will need the writer. Okay, so we can have a print writer here is equal to response dot for okay. And then once you have the print writer, you can give the output. What's the output? This is going to be HTML with head and a title. Okay. Next will be the body tag h1. H1 end of body end of HTML. Okay. Fine. So this we can save in our place where we were regularly saving. Okay, let's save it. We have a folder for Java. Java 1602. And here can the RMI examples are here, right? Okay, so create. Fine. We have given package name as com class of Java. And then class of Java we have a Java 1602. Here what servlet. Okay, and that's a package. And name of the class is HelloServlet.java. Okay, now before we go for compiling, fine. Last time we decided we should have one folder within our folder, fine, within the folder for our home. So we'll have one folder here. Okay, so we have the folder for a Java 1602. Fine, within this, let's create a folder for our web application. Fine. So make a directory. I would like to call it as web app. That's our web application.
Change directory to web app. And here make a directory called web-inf. Web-inf. Within this also make a classes folder. And you can also keep the lib folder. Maybe it's empty currently.
But that's the structure we understand, right? Web application, and whatever is the web application, that has the structure like this.
Okay, we'll need a
web.xml to be saved here.
You can create one web.xml. Okay, as far as compiling goes, let's go and compile the thing. Okay.
From SRC, let's compile.
Dot slash web app
Within web app,
web-inf within web-inf classes.
and that's the destination. Okay, and what do we want to compile? HelloServlet. And specify the path to HelloServlet.
Okay, so what do you think would happen?
Compiles or doesn't compile? Main. Do we need main for servlet? Yeah. Okay, do we need anything else? Will this compile successfully or? Okay, let's try. Then let's try compiling. Okay. Oh, we got a lot of errors. See, starts with what? Those imports. Fine, all the javax.servlet imports. They're not part of the JDK. These are not part of the JDK. Fine, so when you compile, you need to specify your class path. Okay. Okay. Fine. So when we compile, yes, how we should compile? Destination is fine. It will be classes. We should have -cp class path option. Okay. So class path to wherever tomcat is installed. Fine. Wherever you have installed tomcat, you have a lib folder within tomcat, and which contains servlet api.jar. Okay, so you can just give that as your class path. Okay. So class path should also include any classes which are in the classes folder. Okay, so you'll have // web app /nf /classes colon. Okay, here we have /home. Oh, okay, we have home slash. We don't need the space. I'll put that just to take the help of it. The space is not needed. We need to remove that space. Okay. Within this, we have tomcat 8 /lib, and within lib we have the servlet -API. And we have servlet API.jar in the lib folder. So that should be included in your class path. Right? Okay? We need the servlet API to be part of the class path while compiling. Yeah.
apt/gt
Now, if you are installing Tomcat using apt-get, then it will become as a service. Okay, it will be part of the service. Uh, okay, here we have a zip. We are extracted as a zip folder and then deployed it. Okay, so we do our own startup and shutdown. And there you will have to do service start and service Tomcat start, restart, and stop. And that way you can start and restart your Tomcat. But other thing would be, yes, the class path we have included here. You'll have to look out where is the Tomcat lib folder. Okay, where the Tomcat has been deployed. Part of it is in USR, part of it would be in where slash lib. You'll find something slash USR slash share slash Tomcat 8. That's where you'll find part of the other thing. So just locate where the lib is. Okay, fine, it should work. Okay, that class path when we give, right? You should have that, and you should have permissions. Okay, just check the appropriate permissions so that you can. Fine, it should be accessible. Lib folder. Okay. Fine. So this is one thing we have done. But now, yeah, let's go and build our web.xml file. Okay, let's create the deployment descriptor. And web.xml also known as deployment descriptor. Okay, so back to the editor. Yeah, so web.xml file, top level tag is web app and slash hyphen is there, right? Hyphen है नहीं है. Okay. And within web app, you can use the display name. Okay. Display name is, what's the application? See, within Tomcat, your folder, right? So you can say sample app for advanced Java patch or a Java. Java 1.6. And that's the display name. Then okay, you can include context param. If you want to have some context param, okay, think of a param. Parameter name, anything? No, not HelloServlet. You'll go for anything which you want as configurable at the application level. Currently, if you don't have, let's skip the context parameter. Okay. Otherwise, you could have. Yeah. For applications, we keep JDBC driver related information over here. Fine. Currently, we are not having. So let's remove this. Even okay. Or you want to include what typically what is done? So you might say JDBC dot driver dot class. And then param value, it is a JDBC driver class. So example, you might have org.jdbc.driver. And may not be a valid one, but I'm just giving a value here. Fine. So that's one parameter. Like this way, you'll have others, like you'll have URL. What's the URL to be used? There's a JDBC URL to be used for making a connection. And two things will be important. Right? And then the username and the password for making connection. So such things can be used here as context parameter.
Okay. Let's move to the next. Okay, let's go for the servlet entry. What goes in the servlet entry? The name of a servlet. Okay.
Want to call it as what? Give some name.
Let's call it as hello1, and we got servlet name. Okay, you have the servlet class.
Yeah.
What's a class? What's the servlet class?
Is it HelloServlet?
A Java 1602
Dot dot.
hello servlet. That's a servlet class entry. Then you can have an init param as well. Okay, let's have init param dash name. What's the param name? Let's keep greeting here, and we'll try to use this later. Okay, so that's the fine. So that's one init param for our servlet. So we've got one servlet object. Oh, I would like to have one more. Okay, so let's call it as hello2. Load on startup. Give this is one.
And then create a mapping. Fine. We got two servlets.
We'll use the servlet name, fine, so as not to have any spelling mistakes. Let's copy this entry. Okay, and then you'll need a URL pattern.
You can use URL pattern. So what do you want as URL pattern?
Maybe if someone says slash hello slash star.
And anything under hello. Let's use a hello one.
Okay, slash URL. Yeah. Oh, we want to have something different between the two of them, right? Hello 1 and hello 2. So let's change the greeting here.
Let's change it to hi.
Okay,
Fine, that's the difference between the two servlet objects. And they use different configuration parameter.
init param is different for both of them. Let's have one more servlet mapping for the second servlet.
You could have another servlet mapping for the same servlet.
Okay, you could still have another servlet mapping for the same servlet. Okay, for example, yeah, let's repeat this. And we'll put a different pattern. We'll say, okay, anything which ends in star.hello. And we have two servlet mappings.
Fine, same one servlet object but two servlet mappings.
And let's repeat similar thing even for hello2, and let's have hello2 also working in two ways. We have the object of hello2, but this one says okay slash hi slash star and star dot hi.
Here it's understood what's implied here. And any URL which ends in .hi, second servlet. If it ends in .hello, first servlet, or anything which starts with a slash hello or slash hi, and that's the way we have made the distinction between the two.
Okay, fine. So let's save this. Yeah, where do we save this? We save it in our web application, web.inf, save it as web.xml.
Okay, so that's being saved as web.xml. So we have our configuration file. Okay. Now, just deploying it in Tomcat. Fine, we have our web application folder created, and this we would like to deploy in Tomcat. Okay, one option is that we can have a war file being created, and it's just nothing but use a jar command to create the war file out of this folder, and then use the Tomcat administration, or let's link it up as a folder within the web apps folder of Tomcat.
And that's what we are going to do currently. Okay. So let's go to
Tomcat.
.8. Within this we have the web apps folder, and there are other applications. Okay. We would like to have our application for. So we'll have
Link.
symbolic, okay. Then Java 1602 we have the web app, and this is what we would like to link it as a Java 1602.
Okay. So our web application name is Java 1602. Okay.
And there's one entry for a Java 1602, and that's our entry.
Okay. So within web apps we have a folder called Java 1602.
Okay. So now, yeah, we'll have to start. So let's start. From 8/bin. Okay, fine. Having started, so Tomcat is running now, and okay, so we have http://
What's the URL?
Okay, yes, it's currently on localhost colon
Port is 8080 by default. And for Tomcat it will be port 8080.
slash.
What's the web application? Within web apps folder, what is the folder we created? Java,
1602.
and we created it as a link. Okay. Slash. What's the mapping we have given? Hello slash.
Hi.
Hello slash anything. Which one was used? Hello 1 or hello 2? hello one. Fine.
It's not dot high, okay? Yeah, yeah.
Oh, we can't make out, right? Whether it's hello one or hello two. So, what should we do? Let's try to figure out which one is being used. So for that, let's make a difference. Let's recompile. Let's make change in our servlet where we will use the init parameter. And that init parameter, and we have given the parameter name as greeting. Okay, so let's get the value of that and print it. Fine, in the output.
Okay. So yeah, the service method here, yes, it's printing hello world, right? Instead of hello world, it should be this thing plus this dot config dot, or instead of saying this dot config, you could say get config, get servlet config dot get init parameter 1 greeting. Okay. So whatever is that value, right? Plus okay. Okay, we don't need the world thing. We need just the world, right? A space and the world. Okay. Put it on second line. Okay. Then that should be fine.
Right?
So there is that h1 and slash h1 everything. Yeah. Fine. So this should work. Okay, let's save. Let's recompile. Okay, we have done the startup. That's fine. We have what? Java 1602 app. We need to compile, right? Let's compile. That's way to compile. So let's compile. Spelling mistake. Get init parameter.
Okay, so that compiles.
Then we have, oh, since we have recompiled, and we'll need to ask our, okay, now we need to,
Restart the application.
how do we restart the application? So let me open one more, which is for the administration of
Tomcat.
Let's go to the Tomcat home, and we have a manager app, and it will ask for username and password. Now username password, here we have created something.
Okay, that's fine. But when this has been configured using in the conf folder, there's a tomcat users.xml.
Okay, it's just because by making entries over there that we have done this. Okay, so that's our 1602. So you can see this display name appears here, right? That's our display name. Okay, and here we can just say reload. Fine, after reloading, yeah, let's try this. Okay, so it's saying hello. But if we try a different one, let's try slash hello slash.
That's it. Hello.
Okay, but then instead of this hello here,
Extension is considered later. First, the path is considered. Okay. And it matched when we did what we said slash hello to match the path, and we put dot hi to match the extension of the other one.
So in actually, if let's say before we are done with the request,
Before we are done with the
request, let's say our request is not prepared.
okay, we haven't prepared a request.
And
We don't prepare request. The request is from the browser. We receive a request.
yeah, that's it. But I have made some changes in my request, right? And before calling to the
Changes in the request. Where is the request? Who is preparing the request?
browser is preparing the request.
So on the browser, you have a form being submitted or something, right?
But before, like I can call to the response method, like to know the status code or
Yeah,
anything.
jumping. You are jumping. Request comes from browser to the server.
Yeah.
It comes to the container. Container is creating a servlet request object
No, I'm not.
from what is received from the
No, I'm not talking
browser.
related to this servlet. I'm talking related to the URL.
Yeah. So in the URL there is some yeah. It is asking for a resource. So it has to go to the mapping first. Has to go according to the mapping. Where does it map? Fine. The HTTP request has a resource which it is looking for. The browser is looking for a particular resource on the
Yeah.
server.
But I'm talking about that URL connection
Yes.
and URL.
So the URL is there. Yeah. Now.
Now, like I call the connect method every time.
Okay.
Okay, but now what I'm doing, I'm not calling the connect method, but I'm using the response method to know the status.
Client side. Yeah. Okay.
Now, I know my request is not properly being done.
Okay.
Okay, and somebody calls the response method. Let's say.
How can it go?
It is not possible.
If there's a protocol, right?
Yeah.
Your request is not correct. It is not asking for the correct resource.
Yes.
It's a non-existing resource. It comes to the container. What the container is going to do? It looks into the mapping. It doesn't map anywhere, and therefore, what should it do?
It will.
Let's see. What will it do if it doesn't map anywhere? Yeah.
It will go for 404 error, but the thing is that it
Asking for .asp. Some path slash something .asp. That's the case?
yeah,
Okay. Let's see the result.
it's a 404. But the thing is that if anything mismatches with the request, anything, it's not about only URL or resource path. Anything mismatches with the request, I call the resource match.
Okay.
No, anything response match. No, the status code or
See, first thing. First hit is on the container. If it doesn't map, first thing, it has to map. Unless there is a mapping, servlet never comes into picture.
Okay. That means
It's a container
always,
handling it.
Default request will always be the
All requests go to the container.
Okay.
It's a container receiving a request, then deciding to create the objects if it is identifying a servlet. If it sees, oh, this is map, this matches up, there is a mapping for this, right? Therefore, I should go here. Fine, that's a servlet. So identification of servlet has to be there through the mapping.
I'm not talking about servlet. I'm talking particularly about request and response. There is nothing like servlet in my.
There are two parts, right? So
I'm talking about some image in the Google, let's say, and
okay,
I
fine.
have a
So you have a proper URL being used on the
I
client
have
side.
a proper URL, let's say,
Okay.
for in my request, but I don't have something has gone wrong with my request.
Okay.
I don't know what has gone wrong. I'm
Yeah.
not
So that's a server to decide, right?
okay. Means then
It's a server to decide.
okay. Then I should not expect anything from the response.
You have to check your response.
I have to check, but I can't.
As a
expect
client, when you are writing a client, you are using the URL connection. Fine. You will check what is the status.
Yes.
What is the code you have received? Is it 200? Is it okay? Or is it something 4xx?
Okay. Then still the connection will be made with the server.
Yes. If the domain host is proper, yes, it will make a connection to that host. URL has the host. It has to make the connection to the host. The host is up or not. And those things are clear.
And according to the response.
In the response, status is available, right?
Nothing is
For client, that's the
connection
case.
will be
Yeah.
always there.
Yeah. Okay. Fine. So that's the way to create our. Fine. So you can try this way, right? Yeah. URL pattern, fine, with extension or as a path. Fine. Wildcard using path, wildcard using extension. And so that I think you should be able to do it, right? Okay, so tomorrow we'll try to take up the servlet request. Fine, the methods in the servlet request. Fine, and request dispatcher. And there's something in request dispatcher about forwarding and including. So that's the kind of thing which we'll try to cover tomorrow. Okay, let's call it a day.